Hey guys, welcome to the Mobile Central. Today we are looking at POCO X3 NFC. Well, Xiaomi's POCO line of phones are really interesting devices. It created an uproar in the market couple of years back with its POCO F1, but then it went silent for a while. But then again suddenly started pushing out rebranded versions of Mi phones under POCO names. The latest offering from Xiaomi under POCO brand, the X3 NFC is thankfully a pure-bred POCO phone, meaning it is not a rebranded Mi phone. Apart from its silly name, use of the word NFC, it is otherwise a brilliant package for the money you are asked to pay. You can buy this smartphone for just around 800 dirhams. That roughly translates to $220 here in the UAE where I live. And you get a tremendous package in terms of the hardware that this phone holds. A 6.67-inch 120Hz LCD display, quad camera setup led by a 64-megapixel main shooter and a 20-megapixel selfie shooter, stereo speakers with 3.5mm jack, expandable memory, IP53 splash-proof rating, fast charger and a 5160 mAh battery. Well, this is just an amazing package, and with the battery life, well, that became one of my favorite things about this phone. Despite of such a large display, refreshing at 120 Hz, this phone lasts almost 2 days, and that is simply crazy. It was really easy thing to get almost 9 hours of screen on time spanned over 2 days of usage. And when you run out of juice, you get a 33-watt charger in the box that recharge the battery in little over an hour. Now of course it doesn't have wireless charging, but with this huge battery life and such short charge cycles, I never felt the need for it. I have been using this phone off and on since its launch, and I got to say that it has really impressed me with its overall performance and kept making me ask myself that how did Xiaomi achieve this package at such a low price? Because if you look at POCO X3, it feels very close to flagship in terms of its design, with a complete combination of good quality materials, which have held really well for me so far. The frame is made out of aluminum with a plastic back. Now, that is something you get typically on budget phones these days. Front is protected by a Gorilla Glass 5 panel which came with a pre-installed screen protector. I wish it was a bit lighter to carry, as it feels a tad bit heavier at 215 grams with its weight. That being said, I like the bezel-less feel of it. It has a very small chin at the bottom and a centered hole punch cutout at the top. I really appreciate Xiaomi's efforts of including a notification LED hidden behind the earpiece speaker grill. And I really hope that this trend comes back, as Xiaomi shows us that it is not impossible to achieve this on phones with bezel-less design. The 6.6-inch LCD display projects colors really well, besides having the typical LCD panel issues of not having deeper blacks. Overall display quality feels decent, and I think you will not have any issues as it gets sufficiently bright to give you good visibility under sunlight as well. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the display on POCO X3 refreshes at 120 Hz, and Xiaomi has embedded some neat software tricks to make the display change its frame rates based on what you are interacting with on this phone. In idle cases, it goes as low as 1 frame per second, and I think that plays a huge part in getting the stellar battery performance that the phone gives. But it also causes one peculiar issue that happens every time you pick up this phone from its idle state. You will notice a small stutter when you scroll through the display, because the display just takes a split second of time to reach that higher frames per second count from 1 frame per second in its idle state. This may get rectified soon, as this is just a software issue and has nothing to do with the hardware. POCO X3 comes with MIUI 12, and if you have seen previous videos that I have made, then you would know that I prefer the custom OEM skins over stock Android, as I feel they provide extra flavor on top of Android running beneath. POCO's MIUI 12 runs on top of Android 10, and according to me, MIUI 12 is one of the best custom OEM skins, as it knits together a very consistent performance across its multiple sections in UI. Now everything is really well organized from its app drawer to the settings, and has its own unique features, such as categorizing apps under different categories or clubbing them with the app's icon color. I must say that MIUI 12 has come a long way in terms of performance. And when you talk about the ad situation, well, I never saw any ads except when I was installing an app on this phone. So if you think you're going to see ads everywhere on this phone, then that is not true. and to see an ad while installing an app, which is anyway not a very regular activity once you start using a phone, I think it is okay, considering such a low price you're paying for this phone. Phone's overall performance is driven by Qualcomm's latest 7 series chipset, the 8nm 732G. This chipset never let me down for any heavy duty tasks that I threw at it, be it any performance intensive games or surfing through social media casually. The phone kept performing at decent standards that you would expect of a phone in this category. Everything was snappy, quick and fast without any hiccups, and overall experience was smooth in terms of performance. I really have had fun with this phone, including its picture taking abilities that are pretty decent. Selfie camera is a 20 megapixel snapper, and like seen in the past on previous Xiaomi phones using the same sensor, it struggles a little with the overexposed scenarios, but overall you will get decent output from the phone. It also has those face enhancing modes which are also known as beauty modes. The quad camera setup at the back brings along a 64 megapixel main sensor, a 13 megapixel ultra wide sensor and a 2 megapixel each for macro and depth. At the video front, you can record in up to 4K with 30 frames per second. Video recording does not get any OIS capabilities and stabilization is dependent on EIS model. Overall, video quality is not that great and wouldn't give you any amazing output. But yes, it does the job decently. And when you talk about the picture taking abilities from the main camera, you will be happy with the picture taking abilities. Pictures look really sharp and detailed from this 64 megapixel main sensor, and I would say that it completely outshines the other lenses on this phone. During daytime, pictures come out clean and crisp. Focusing is on point. Yes, color tones can be slightly better I feel, but overall details look perfect, especially from the main 64 megapixel sensor. During the low light or night mode scenarios, the cameras did not perform as good as it does during the daytime. The noise handling caused pictures to come out slightly grainy. Having said that, the camera overall performs decent for a phone at this price point. Personally, I've had a good run with this phone. The overall package is unbelievably good. POCO X3 has been reliable with its performance, showed a great endurance with its almost unbelievable battery life, a great camera, and all of it encased in a good looking body. And consistent software performance of MIUI 12 makes it a terrific offering by Xiaomi. So should you avoid, consider, or just straight away buy this phone? Well, I think you should definitely buy this phone, as at this price point, nothing can beat POCO X3 NFC. What are your thoughts on this phone? Let me know in the comments below. And do subscribe if you want to watch more of my content. Thank you for watching guys. Cheers.